Guys, ngaphakathi sina.
In Berlin. I worked for it. And folks, you will hear all about it.
I think it was an amazing experience. I was expecting to get a sub 420.
Hoping you best with the marathon. Hope you don't pass out. We're hoping you good luck. We're hoping you safe travels. You know, have fun on that flight. Have fun on the marathon. Have fun with everything. Just enjoy it. Get a nice time though. Feel the breeze. And you know, just be there in the moment. Good luck.
With those words of encouragement / warning, it was time to head for Berlin. I arrived in Berlin on Friday night. I knew I had better chances of a long good night's sleep on Friday night than Saturday night, so I went straight to bed. The following morning, I was up early and I went to the expo. I had seen a lot of messages about long queues. I did not want to get caught up in those queues, so I went there early. When I arrived there, it was still empty. It was a quick 5 minutes or 10 minutes in and out. The following morning, again, I did not waste time. My stuff was all in one place. It was a quick shower, quick breakfast, and then dress up and head straight to the train. I did not want to leave anything to chance. I did not want to arrive late or take the wrong train, that sort of thing. So I figured I'd rather spend more time there waiting than spend a lot of time getting lost, because I had all my supplies anyway. I was not going to start until about 9:40, I think. So I figured out that if I arrived there just before 8 or just after 8, I could settle down and do other things while I wait and all those things. Get some time to go and do that mandatory loo inspection. And as I headed for the train station, the streets were quiet, but once I got into the train station, I saw a few people that were heading towards the race, so I just followed those people and landed at Berlin Central Station. Once I got there, boy, you did not need to ask for directions. In fact, if anything, you had to ask who was not going to the race. It was all roads lead to the race, so I just joined in the queue and followed everyone else. There was a very quick security inspection. It was quicker than I thought, because I heard stories that you could get stuck and all sorts of things. But when I got there, it was quick. It was a quick in and out, and I was on the other side waiting for the race to start. Then we had to make way to our starting pens, or to our starting waves. I think it was about half a kilometer to 600 meters, but you didn't notice because it was quick moving. It was easy going. Everyone was excited. And we landed by our starting waves or starting pens. And then there was, I think, from the time I arrived there was almost like a 45 minutes festival of music and clapping and jumping and singing.
Phenomenal marathon weather for you. And because of that, we thought we'll say a little thank you to the weather gods for this perfect marathon weather today. If we could please ask everyone, the entire field, to raise their arms up high in the air.
Und bewegt. Seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In Richtung Siegsäule. Wir nehmen die Marathon 2024. Herzlich willkommen zum 50. Herzlich willkommen zum großen Geburtstagsmarathon.
And folks, I don't know if it's just me, but this song here, the start, I could swear it was an English song and they were saying Viva Sofia and they were saying soon we will see reality. I mean, just take a listen again, folks. If you don't hear it, there must be something wrong. Just take a listen again. All right, folks. Finally, we got to start. It's going to be a longish 42K, but let's see how it goes. And after getting over Viva Sofia, that's what I think the song said, a few thoughts started coming into my mind, and there's one voice that kept coming into my ears, and I had to pay attention and listen to this voice carefully.
I always say keep it simple. You've done all the work on training. On the race date, like you're going for rehearsal. Don't try something new. Stick to what you've been doing on training in terms of the planning. Don't change the plan. Don't get carried away. Don't get excited until the last stages of the race. I always say 3/4 of your race, run according to the plan. Look at your watch all the time. The first 3/4, the last quarter of the race, everybody will be tired. It's going to come down to how much you really want this. You're going to have to dig deeper. It's going to be hard no matter how hard you train. But the last quarter, it's going to really challenge you. That's where you're going to say, how much I really want this. I've prepared for this. I've came a long way. I didn't come here to fail. I came here to achieve my goal. And also look at the nutrition. That's another thing that you have to be very, very careful. Because you might be fit and you end up going to the bush and losing time because maybe you've been taking different supplements that your body system is not used to what, in terms of nutrition. Yeah.
And before I knew it, folks, we had already crossed the 50-kilometer mark. And maybe it was just adrenaline and all that, but that 5 kilometers flew past quickly. My split for that first 5-kilometer stretch was 24 minutes and 43 seconds. I had it under control, folks, because I knew I had to keep it under 5 minutes if this 3:30 was going to become a reality. So for the first 5 kilometers, whether it was adrenaline, it was the excitement, everyone around you still excited, screaming, bring it on, let's go, and that sort of thing, I think that helped. And then just after the 5th kilometer, there in that 6th kilometer, I had to stop because I was wearing layers, so I had this compression long sleeve ties. But it was getting hot. I could tell that if I continued by the time I got to 10K, I probably would be overheating. So I took a pit stop and on the side of the road and took it off and left it hanging there. There was no time for emotions and sentiments and saying, well, look, I'm leaving this on the roadside. No, it was a quick pit stop. I think I lost about 50 seconds at that pit stop. And because of that pit stop when I was losing some layers, my next 5-kilometer split was 26 minutes and 1 second. Now folks, I was outside the 5-minute cap that I had to go at. I had to go at under 5 minutes per K at all times if I was to entertain this sub 330. In fact, later on I probably would have had to go under 440 just to be sure that I made it. Alright folks!
Hey, Chadafara!
Look who I found!
We're here.
Bank!
Umkai!
Right in the middle of Berlin.
On the street.
Angithi kunjani bhuti? Hayi, one time.
Hayi, singaphakathi sida.
Phakathi inside. Come on, kanjani bhuti?
Kumnandi yazi Coco. Nice and easy. 10.92 kilos so far.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, sitting back, nice and easy.
I-weather yona?
Perfect yazi. Iqale ibanda nje kuseni, but I think ilanga liphakeme kahle. Everything is going perfect so far. Enjoy wena so far?
Yeah, so far it's fine. The weather, it's
Yeah.
I had to stop and take off my other shirt, the inner long sleeve shirt. But after that, everything is fine.
You are
So
in a nice swing.
let's see how it goes.
Yeah, man. That's the spirit.
Representing
Sub-finish.
Oh, there we go. He's sub-finished.
Nothing crazy. Definitely. Everyone in Zanzi, you must come here. This is where the fun is, guys.
Yeah.
Kumani Lana Kakun.
Yeah.
This is the best experience of my life. This year, I'm definitely coming back, even if it's not next year, because I'm planning to do the London Marathon. But this is the race where you all want to be at, guys. Kumani Lana, people are very warm, the food is great, the scenery, everything is beautiful. Plenty of museum for those that are into history and all of those great stuff.
Nah, so come here. If you want to have fun, come to Berlin.
This is where it is.
Maybe it's because it's early days yet.
Oh yes. Yeah, no.
We will update you at 40.
Let's go, brother.
One of my heroes.
Let's go.
Let's go, guys.
How you doing, brother?
Aubrey.
How you
Good
doing?
and you. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, my man. Not
That's
bad.
good.
We're doing
That's
what we
good.
can.
I followed your training blog.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
I've got my brother Thomas from Believe in the Run pacing me.
Oh,
If we
yeah.
get this done, it'll be this man.
It will be this.
Let's
man.
go.
Thank you, sir. And
What's your goal for today?
I don't think I'll make it, but I'm chasing a 330.
Hey, you better get going, bro.
There we go.
Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Let's
Aubrey.
go.
Cheers. So, guys, let me tell you, that moment right there was a fantastic moment. I got to rub shoulders with Aubrey Runs, one of the guys I was hoping to meet here. And after that, I got like a surge of energy and went for it. So that third 5 kilometer split, it was a bit quick. It was 25:04. And that was 5:01. I was still outside that 5-minute mark. I had to bring it down probably by 5 seconds and take it from there.
Look who I found in Berlin.
So for the next 5 kilometer split, I decided let me step on it a little bit and recover those 50-something seconds that, remember folks, I had stopped and lost. That split was 24:48, so that equated to about 4:58 per kilometer. Well, that was not bad. I had aimed to take it to 4:50, but I would take 4:58 at that time. And that, folks, got me to the halfway at 1 hour 46 minutes, an average pace of 5:02. Still, folks, we were still outside because I had to go under 5 minutes per kilometer. But it didn't worry me a lot at that stage. I thought of the wise words of my coach. He said, just stick to your plan until about 10 kilometers to go. So in my mind, I thought, well, if I stick to this and if I can go 15 seconds faster in the last 10 Ks, if you multiply 10 by 15, that's 150, and 150 divided by whatever. I was confident that I would recover some time, and I thought I would come just below 330, probably at 329.50 something. And if I went outside, I probably would be at 331. So I was good. It was all going well at that stage. And for the next 5K split, as I thought I had it under control, the momentum was going and all that. Let's try and dip it under 5 to 4:55. So I managed to hold it a bit, and my fifth 5K split up to 25Ks was a bit slow, but it was a 26:01. So the average pace had gone down again. It had now gone to 5:13. If you remember, that was my second split when I had stopped to change and all those things. In this one, I just don't know. I mean, I could sense that I was getting slow, but I thought, well, I can manage. I think there's a little incline. I mean, it's flat, so there was no, I will run fast when I get to the top of the hill. But I thought when I get some inclines, I could just speed it up. But by the time I got to the 25th, I realized, nah, this is not happening. So I decided, well, let me sort of try to improvise, because if I carry on at this stage, at this rate, I risk completely bonking and sitting on the roadside. So I thought, let's go into interval mode. What I'll do is I'll try and push it to 440 to 445 for 300 meters, and then do a 50 meters, maximum 100 meters at 5:30 to 6 minutes, just to bring the heart rate down. And that kind of worked for the first 1.5 kilometers after that 25. But as I was approaching 27, I could tell that no, there's something wrong. I mean, the rev counts were very high. I mean, that's the breathing. It was very high, but the speed was just not happening. I could tell that, okay, my breathing is now out of control, but I'm just waving my arms, and in fact, it's becoming a comedy. So I decided, okay, let's just slow down, keep slowing down, and probably when we get to 30 and we are about 3 minutes out, we could then still try to recover that time. But boy, it just wasn't happening. That next 5K split was 27:37. I think that was when I realized that, you know what, this sub 330s ain't going to happen. If at that stage I was still saying I will make it by hook or crook, at that point I started accepting that, you know what, I think it's gone. I think it's not going to happen. And I think just after that 30K mark, the sub 330 bus that had started in the same wave with me or slightly behind, then just came flying past. And I looked at it, I did not even attempt to follow it. And then I think a kilometer further down, another sub 330 bus came flying past. So at that stage, because of the confusion and all that, I thought, oh, let me follow it. And maybe if I stick with them, I would finish in a decent time, because then I'd already accepted that 3:30 is not happening. Now I was aiming at 3:40, and I'm thinking if I stick with them, maybe I'll make the 3:40. So I then stuck with them for about 20 meters, I think. But you know, folks, if it's not happening, it's not happening. In my mind, I started doing the maths, and I realized that, hey, if they are sub 3:30, when one just passed me, they must have started in a wave that was behind us. So as much as I'm thinking, well, look, 3:30, for my time, I'm probably already 3:40 something. So let's just let them go. So I let them go, and I carried on with my interval type thing, because at that stage, I just wanted to make sure that the time didn't become embarrassing. I just didn't want it to then go beyond 3:50, and well, who knows, it then goes beyond 4 hours. So I stuck it out. I decided, well, let the 3:30 thing go. I'll just mind my own business. As long as I can see the projected finishing time on my watch is still under 3:50, then that's fine. I can live with that. So let me just carry on with my own race. The worst thing that could happen is push too much. You start cramping, and for the record, I've never cramped at a race. So yeah, but on that day I was worried that, hey, well, what if it happens? Or you completely conk out, like I said earlier, and then you end up not finishing. So I would take a 3:40 something, but my aim was just to keep it in the lower 3:40s, not in the other side of 3:40s. 3:45 and above was kind of worrying me. I thought, no, let me just try pushing and try and keep it under 3:45.
4:10. Boom! In the hour.
By the time the 7th 5-kilometer split came, it came at 29:33. Boy, oh boy, we had really slowed down. That was now 5:55, a whole minute behind my target pace, because at this stage I was supposed to be doing 4:45 to 4:55 to try and gain those few seconds that I talked about. So I realized that, you know what, it's not going to happen. Today is just not my day. So a far run to go, 5 kilometers. Boy, it's been tough. It's been very, very tough. Flat ain't easy. You know, there are moments when you are looking for a downhill to just roll while you rest. Those downhills never came. Yeah. And one thing that I must say, folks, there was just something that was not right. So my watch was not in sync with the official route distance markers. I started my watch right by the line, by the timing met. But obviously, due to buildings and all that, GPS sometimes gets overwhelmed. I mean, there were 50-something thousand runners there. So my watch was about 100 to 120 meters ahead of the distance markers. So sometimes, and this was also very demoralizing, especially after the 37th kilometer, because I would try my best and then my watch would tell me you are now at 38. But then the 38 marker was nowhere to be found. Only 120 meters later, which is almost like 45 seconds to a minute, I would see that distance marker. So that's what happened with the with the 2 kilometers to go marker. When I got to that arch that said 2 kilometers to go, I had long crossed 40 kilometers on my watch. I think I got to that arch when my watch was already saying 40.4 something. So seeing that thing, and it took me back. I'm like, I've been working hard to go forward, but this thing is now taking me back. Now I'm 400 meters behind because I'm only reaching 40. And that also messed up with the calculations, because 400 meters is almost a good 2.5 minutes if you're running fast. And if you're running at the pace that I was running, it's a good 3+ minutes. So all that playing in my mind, and I'm doing the maths and all that, and now at that stage I'm just thinking, this must just come to an end. When is it going to end? When is it going to end? But I didn't let that spoil my moments, because I must say the first 23 kilometers were fantastic. Even the stretch from 23 to where we were now at 40 something, there had been some fantastic aid stations. There were bands along the way. There were people with massive speakers on their balconies blasting music, and I really enjoyed those parts. And eventually, after what seems to be an eternity, we made a left turn. As you made the left turn, you could see the gate there, and I was like, okay, that's it, we are here, we have done it. But I had to remember that everyone kept cautioning us that, look, for the novices, for the first timers, don't be tempted to think when you get to the gates you are done. There's still a good 300 to 400 meters that you must still go. Now, for me, folks, I have this golden rule that on the grass, on that last stretch, that's the lap of honor, you run it all the way, because the people are cheering you up and all that. You create that facade that you have run the whole marathon, you didn't walk, so you keep running. But on this day, I ran like 400 meters. Just before the gates, I was out of gas, and I had to walk under the gates. And then I checked my watch. If I remember very well, it had just hit 4:49, or it was 4:38:55, that kind of thing. And I decided this is my last chance of keeping it under 4:50. So I just went for it, boy. I don't know where that energy came from, but I just went for it. Before I knew it, I was now on the blue carpet, and I'm thinking, no, we're not stopping. We are going. Those few seconds are going to be the difference between I finished 3:40 something and I finished 3:50 something, because I think once you cross 3:50, you don't say I finished 3:50, you just say I finished sub 4. So right, folks, Berlin Marathon done and dusted. Boy, east went west. That was hard work. I have no words to describe it. It was tough.
Maximilian, Kim, Ismiri,
that just goes to show you that
Dirk, Kim, Kea,
anything can happen in a marathon.
Dagmar, Josep Maria, Mark.
But I'm glad I gave it all my all.
Laura,
I ran my socks off.
Agme, Anja,
and I'm proud.
Federica, Lutz,
that
Ernst,
we came,
Tobias,
we ran, we persevered.
Miguel, John, welcome.
Now to the medal.
Stephen, Maribel, Ayofi,
thank you.
Eugene,
it's here on the neck. What a beautiful medal. There we go. I worked for it. And folks, you will hear all about it, because this was hard work. Yeah, we have stories to tell. I'll start with Xavier here.
Yeah, so I'm from South Africa. Met up with Farad now, thank you.
I think it was an amazing experience. I first time traveling by myself, and definitely would recommend it. I'm planning on doing all the world majors, so I think I was very happy with my time. It could have been better, it could have been worse, but you know, you take it in and you take it for the experience.
Of course, I mean, we all have had better days, but you know, folks, the easy marathon is the one that you are not running. The one you are running is always a tough one. I'm also glad we came, we did it, we conquered in a different way. And I mean, it's massive here. I've never ran a race that is 50,000 plus people. It's an experience. Incredible. It's something that I will cherish for a very long time. And on the other side, on this side, we have Hangwani from Zanzi, for sure. How did it go, Hangwani?
Yo, it's my first marathon after the Comrades Marathon.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I was expecting to get a sub 420, which I got. I finished in 414.
Here's a happy customer. Well done, man. Well done.
Yo, it's very well organized. To organize for so many people, it must take a lot. I think they've been learning from other years where they hosted this marathon. Is the 50th edition. I also bought a coin just to remind myself of this great event. My wife is also running. My cousin and his wife are also running. So it's quite a great event. Yeah.
It's a full house. No, thanks, man. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, thank you.
Cool. So that was that, folks. That was the Berlin Marathon 2024. I went on a journey to bring a sub 330. That journey was not just marathon day. It was a 16-week journey from reaching out to the coach, getting a training plan, hitting all the sessions every morning. Sometimes it was very cold and I would postpone it to the evening. Sometimes then work would happen and then sometimes flu happened. But I stuck it out. I knew that I was on a mission and I knew that I had to put in the work. After all, they say hard work beats talent when talent is not working hard. So I knew my limitations. I knew I don't have the talent, but I have to put in the shifts. I had to work hard. I worked hard, and I think in some instances I also worked smart. I adjust things here and there, kept informing my coach of where I was, and probably my mistake. And I'm not trying, folks, to make excuses. We are here now. The marathon is gone. But two mistakes that I think I made. One was the long flight that I took. Instead of a direct flight, I settled for a cheaper one. And settling for that cheaper one, I was like, oh, well, I will get two for the price of one. I'll fly into Hamburg, do some sightseeing, and then go to Berlin. And the same applies on my way back. I would have a lot of time in Hamburg for sightseeing, and then I'll get to Dubai. I would do other things. But in hindsight, that was not a clever decision, because I think that's where, and my coach also thinks that's where I got problems, because I left Joburg at 7 on Thursday, only to get into my B&B after 9 o'clock on Friday night. And in between, there was not much of walking around other than in Hamburg when I walked for a good 2 hours or whatever, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. I spent almost 9 hours on the flight to Dubai. I sat by the window and I felt bad jumping over people. So I just said, I didn't even go for that coveted loo inspection. I sat in one place and that was that. Got to Dubai. I had some work to catch up with, so I didn't get time to stretch walking around the airport. I just sat in one spot, caught up with some work. And then when I got to Hamburg, at least there I walked around, but hopped on the train again and sat in one place by the window again for almost 2.5 hours. So that obviously took a toll. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to understand, because even after the race on my Facebook, I said, well, look, there was no scientific explanation other than witchcraft. But in hindsight, I look back and I think that was probably where I got it wrong. I had put the shift, I had put the training and all that, but I just got it wrong. If I got another chance, I probably would plan it differently, direct flight there, and then the flight out, I can mess around and all that. After all, it's an opportunity to take my medal for a tour. And talking about the medal tour, that's exactly what I did. I took my medal on a tour. I mean, Monday, I basically wore it the whole day, breathed on my neck, took it everywhere, went back to the gates for the mandatory pictures and all that, hopped on the train, all the way to Hamburg, and I was displaying my medal with so much pride, and then got to Hamburg, walked around. I think in Hamburg it was even better because there were not too many people that were walking around with their medals like they were in Berlin. So I kept getting these thumbs up, well done, and I'm like, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm sucking every moment. I'm sucking in every moment. I'm enjoying this. Go to the airport, that was the same thing. Get to Dubai, it was still here on my neck. It was going on a tour, and I'm sure it got tired at some point of people looking at it, that sort of thing. Flew all the way, got to OR Tambo International, Johannesburg. I had my medal. In fact, there, because this medal is really beautiful, so I think some people mistook it for a gold medal. They're like, oh, gold medal, well done. Well, folks, I was not going to spoil the moments and tell them that, nah, this is just a thanks for coming. I just went, yeah, thank you, thank you. And, well, looks can be deceiving with my height and all that. I'm sure some mistook me for the champion. But that was that, folks. I mean, I'm telling you these things so that you know that I hold no grudge. I made the first attempt at the 330. It didn't work out. We fall and we rise, and when we rise, we must rise higher. I have no doubt that I'll be going back, not to Berlin, but I'll be going back on the road to try this 330 again. It definitely will fall at some point. I'll just have to adjust one or two things, and after that, we give it another try and we see where it takes us. Anyway, folks, I know I said that was that, and then I went on another lamentation for 5 minutes, and this video is now turning into lamentations of a failed 330 attempt. No, it's not. This was actually meant to be a celebration, and I'm sure you can see I'm still excited. I'm glad, I'm proud that I gave it a go, and I live to try another day. And if you haven't subscribed yet, folks, please subscribe. Please hit the bell so that you get notifications when we post something new. It helps the channel to grow, and that means a lot to me. Until the next one, folks. Cheers.